So this is like a little bit of a, I guess, training vlog or something. So I just was at the gym this afternoon, and I've been working on like this block that's it's very tight, but it has like this rotation to it, and it's just kind of trying to turn it into something that like moves with everything else. Like it goes with the movements and timings and being able to strike out of it and things like this. It sounds very vague, but it's just because it's hard to describe. It's basically doing this and like Chai footwork with it and striking out of it kind of thing. So I was sparring with Carabao today. Carabao is like probably, I don't know, 5 kilos smaller than me. He's significantly smaller, but he's tall. But because of the weight difference, I'm able to do things on him that I'm not able to do on people who are bigger than me, who's usually who I'm training with. Which is something that Karahat has really emphasized for me, is that it's really important to also have training partners who are smaller, so that you can have the courage to experiment with these things and really get them down, which I know to be true because I've always had people bigger than me, and it makes me really strong, which is Pinu's point, is he's like, you train against people who are better than you and bigger than you, so that when you go in the ring against someone who's not, you have this like power, you know, like you lift 500 pounds so that if you ever need to lift 300 pounds, you're able to do that. I think it's both. I think it's being able to do both, but I've been really one-sided in the way that I've trained just because of who's available to me. So I really like working with Carabao, especially in clinch, because I can try a lot of the things that Karahat has been teaching me and working with me on, like turns and kind of more endless motion tricky stuff, instead of just like locking and hanging on for my life and being a little like brick house power bank, which is generally how I win fights, because that's why I'm able to fight people bigger than me, is because I'm able to do that. But you can also fight people bigger than you in this like kind of endless motion way that Karahat has been working with me on. So in sparring with Carabao, I was just trying to work on this block mainly and like see if I could strike out of it. My shins are still not quite ready for full sparring. I sparred with Karahat the other day, and it was not that big a deal. It just really hurt, which to me is not that big a deal. But I'm trying to get them better because I have more fights coming up and I just want them to heal. So I was not focusing so much on kicking, but like kick when I can, but basically try to stay in kneeing range and fold the arms and use this block to kind of feel out all of the parameters of where that block is and how I can explode out of it and how I can stay close because of this block. What was really interesting about this is that I was really focusing on like 1 or 2 things, but when we would lock up quite a lot, these other opportunities would present themselves, and I was calm enough and not like clutching and hanging on for dear life, that I was able to try a lot of things. This is what Karahat's talking about, is that you have the freedom to try different things because of the size difference in the training partner. So I was doing things that I was working with Karahat on, which he was letting me work on. Carabao's not letting me work on him, but I'm able to do it, which is this like drag back and immediately change direction and step forward. I was able to use my block and then come back with a knee. I was able to fold his arms. But my favorite thing about it was that one of the things that's been the hardest thing to work on and the most important thing to work on since I did my intensive with Karahat is this continuity. And what that means is just carrying on. Like, you don't stop and start over. You don't have like little block like Lego sets of this much that you like kind of stitch together. Instead, it's like a conversation. Like, it just keeps going. It's like the way I'm talking now. The words are coming to me as I need them in order to express this concept, and if someone were to interrupt me and say something back to me, I could then respond to what they were saying without like losing what I'm talking about or having to like stop and get back to what I'm doing. It's the continuity of a fight being like a conversation. What was so cool about today's sparring with Carabao was that there were elements of that continuity that I haven't felt in my own training. Like, I've felt it with Karahat because we're working on it together. But under the different pressures of people who aren't at that level or aren't working on those same things or so much bigger than me or just bashing me or whatever the thing is, it's hard to work on continuity when other people are not trying to carry on the conversation. So what was so amazing about my work with Carabao is he wasn't necessarily trying to do that, but because of the freedoms that I had in working with him, I could find myself in a position and be like, oh, let's talk about this now. Like, let's do this move now. Let's work on this now. Like, oh, I can do this kind of trip, or I can work on this kind of block, or it seems like he's doing this a lot, so I'm going to work on this element of it. And so there was this degree of picking up what game we're playing now as we're going, as though it's a conversation where, like, the topic changes or it, like, segues, and you're able to follow it. And then you're like, oh, that reminds me of this other thing, and you, like, pull in this other example, and it's very natural, and it feels very nice. My dad has this unbelievable ability to talk to anybody. Like, he can talk on a flight about God knows anything. It's basically small talk, but he makes it interesting, and he can talk to really anyone about it. I can't do that. I'm really shy. I don't like talking to people. But this was like the I can talk about anything, I can talk to anyone charm quality that my dad has in fighting form, where I'm like, yes, I can follow this conversation and I can add to it and I can bring these other references in. And it felt really, really good, which I can count on one hand the number of times that sparring has felt really good to me. And today was one of them. So I'm really happy about that. And my pad work with Pinu was basically sparring as well. So I got that other quality of work that he's always talking about, of someone who's much bigger than you and basically able to do whatever they want because of their size. So I'm on the deficit end of that, and how you respond to that with like just being strong and like hard-headed, and then on the flip side of that, being able to work with Carabao where it's way more fluid. So today was like the Goldilocks and the Three Bears day, where like the porridge was too hot and the porridge was too cold, but the fact that there were two of them made the porridge just right, which was really, really nice. So that's my training vlog for today. I'm fighting in like about a little more than a week, so I have this stuff that I can work on in that time. I'm gonna go on a meditation retreat for 3 days, so I won't be training in the gym during that time. I'll probably be like shadowboxing around my room to not go crazy a little bit, but that's totally not training. So it'll give me a chance to really work on and reset my brain, which honestly makes the biggest difference in any of this training at all. I could have had this exact same training, like exactly as good, exactly as Baby Bear, but with a different mindset, and it would have been a horrible day. So being able to work on that is really important, and always trying to find the like parameters of that, and what can help create that, and what the different skills are that I can work on in order to make those a possibility is kind of the main focus of what I'm working on all the time now. So thank you guys for listening to me babble. It's very nice and breezy here in Pattaya today, and I'm gonna go upstairs and let the monkey jump all over me.